Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Scorpius HD. Welcome back to another video. Today we are checking out this 2011 Ford Shelby GT500. Without any further ado, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's go ahead and go check out this car. This car is powered by a 5.4 liter supercharged V8 with 550 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. And with a 6-speed manual transmission, you can expect a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds, right up to a top speed of 155 miles an hour. This car has a length of 188 inches, has a width of 74 inches, has a height of 55 to 56 inches, has a wheelbase of 107.1 inches, has a ground clearance of 5.7 inches, and has a curb weight of 3,820 pounds to 3,969 pounds. This car has a fuel capacity of 16 gallons, and fuel economy wise you can expect 15 out in the city and 23 out on the highway. Starting underneath the hood of the Ford Shelby GT500, where this car is powered by a 5.4 liter supercharged V8 with 550 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. And this car can do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat. Whenever I drove this car, it sure did feel like every single bit of that too. This generation of the Ford Mustang is the 5th generation Ford Mustang, and they were sold from 2010 to 2014. And I must say, this generation does look really cool. This car has a really distinctive front splitter on it, and it looks really good. And the side profile of this car, it does also look really good as well. As you can see, it's distinctively Mustang. The Mustang has a very similar body style and very similar shape as all the other ones did. But it still looks really cool to see. Moving on to the back of the car, as you can see from the back of the car does look really good as well. As you can see, it's very distinctively Mustang. Of course you got the classic Mustang rear end as well. And this one right here was actually replaced. This is actually the newer generation. This is 2011. This is a 2013-14 bumper. But I must say, it does look really good. One of the really cool key features on the back of this car is just looking at this rear spoiler. This rear spoiler is really cool. It's not too big and it's not too small, and it just looks so BA on the back of this car. Moving inside the trunk, as you can see, the inside of this trunk is pretty standard what you see in any other car, so I'm not really going to feature the trunk all too much. Of course, on the back here, you also have the giant Shelby GT500 badge with the giant Cobra badge right in the middle, and it just looks so good. Now let's go talk about wheel size. So now this car here has 19-inch wheels on the front and 20-inch rims and 20-inch wheels on the back. However, this one has been swapped to 20 inches all around to give better grip, because this car in first, second, or third gear, this thing is really swirly. So if you're going to drive this car, whatever you do not floor it in first, second, or third gear. At most, if you want to punch it in the lower gears, do it at most 50. And these rims are aftermarket, but they are still Shelby, and I must say, these do look really cool. I love the color of them. It fits this car perfectly. It really does look good. On the front hood of the Ford Shelby GT500, it does have a functional hood vent, and it does look really cool to see on there. And so that's pretty much all the cool, weird, and interesting things and all the cool stuff about the exterior of the Ford Shelby GT500. Now for the fun part, let's go ahead and move on to the inside. Moving on to the interior of the Ford Shelby GT500, you're instantly greeted by these gigantic, thickly bolstered leather seats, and they really do feel good, and they're designed to really hug you in place, especially when you're going around a racetrack. This car is mainly designed for track and also drag use, I guess you could say. It's built for straight line and also around cornering. And actually, on the back of the seats, you can see it does have a cool looking Shelby logo on the back of the seat as well, and it just looks really good. It's a very nice steering wheel. As you can see, it's perfectly sized. It's not too small nor too big. It's just the perfect size for the best possible comfort. And on the steering wheel, as you can see, you got the Shelby badge right in the middle, as you can see, and it just looks really cool, as you can see. And the whole steering wheel is just surrounded by a lot of leather. That's basically what all the steering wheel is surrounded by is just leather, which it just looks really good. And of course, on the steering wheel, you got 8 buttons on the steering wheel. So let's begin the interior review. Let's go and start with the more simpler stuff, talking about the lighting. Now the lighting is all controlled by this switch right here to the left of the steering wheel, and this dial right here, that's actually the gauge cluster dimming. That's what you would use to actually dim and brighten the gauge cluster. Let's go start with mirror controls. Now the mirrors are controlled by this dial right on the left of the door panel, which, as you can see, you can turn this dial all the way to the left and all the way to the right. Of course, turn it all the way to the left, and the other allows you to adjust the left mirror. As you can see, it's just like any other one. Of course, adjust it all the way to the right, and then that's when you can then adjust the right mirror, as you can see. Simple as that. It's just like what you would see in any other car. And this car does have a second mirror on it as well for a more wider view. Of course, on the door panel, you got your unlock and unlock buttons, which they look just like any other lock and unlock buttons, as well as you got your door handle, as you can see. Those are the window controls, so nothing too interesting about these window controls. You do have a handle right here that you can use to shut the door with, and you also have a storage compartment right underneath that as well. So this car is pretty practical. This car does also have two cup holders, but they're not like in view until you do this. There's a switch right here. You can see as I lift up this switch right here, as you can see, it then reveals two cup holders inside of this car, which it just looks awesome, I must be honest. Now, talking about getting inside of the trunk, there's two ways to get inside of the trunk, and now you cannot do it from the exterior of this car unless you use the key. Of course, you got the button on the key fob that you would use to open up the key, open up the trunk, which is right here. Oh, but the only real button on the car itself to open up the trunk is right here, right next to the shifter. That's the only way to pop open the trunk from the interior of this car. So talking about the gauge cluster, of course you got your speedometer. You also got your fuel. You also got your fuel gauge right here. You also got your car temperature gauge, and you also got a boost gauge inside of here as well. And then you also got your fuel temperature gauge, which just looks really, really cool. And then of course you also got your tachometer with the SVT logo right in the middle. It just looks really good. And this car is a manual transmission. This car is a 6-speed manual transmission, and I must say this shifter does feel really, really good whenever you're driving it. It feels kind of like the Porsche I drive with a quick shifter, so it feels really good. And get a load of this texture that goes across the whole entire front dashboard. I'm not exactly kind of sure what kind of texture this is called, but it makes the interior of this car just look so much better. It really does. Now, all these buttons right here on the left of the steering wheel, these are all for the cruise control. Of course, you got your other turns are on and off. That helps you set the speed that you want to do, and of course lets you resume the cruise control wherever you left off. And all on the right side, this is all for the center screen. Like, you don't have to reach over and mess with anything on the center screen. You can all do it all on the steering wheel. Of course, you got your volume gauge that raises the volume of the radio. You also got the button here that actually hang up your phone whenever you're talking on the phone. You also got the button that actually switches the radio station that you're listening to. It's kind of obvious. So all these buttons are here, kind of like what you would find in any car. So I'm not going to really feature those. Now, here's something really interesting about the mirror. So now, so far the sun visor mirror just looks like any other mirror. It's kind of interesting. But take a look at the sun visor mirror cover. It looks really cool. But one cool thing about the sun visor mirror cover is that it's actually supposed to resemble the hood of the car. It's like I'm pulling up a picture of what the hood looks like now. As you can see, you got the bulge right in the middle, just like you do on the actual hood. And of course, you got the flat parts on the hood as well. It's supposed to represent the hood of this car, and it just looks absolutely incredible. It's a really cool idea. Amazing attention to detail. Of course, you got your interior dome lights. As you can see, they work just like any other interior dome lights. Moving on to the buttons right next to the shifter, of course you got your traction control off button. Let's not press that button. You also got the hazard light button right here in the middle. Of course, you also got your trunk popper button right down here at the bottom. Moving on to the center control stack, let's go and start down here at the very, very bottom. Of course, you got these two blank switches. There's actually 4 blank switches on the outside of these right here. These buttons have no purpose. You can't even push them. So those there are just blank. Of course, you've got your climate controls. This car does have dual zone climate control, so you can make the driver's side have one temperature and the passenger side have one temperature. It's just like any other car that you would see today. Of course, you've got your temperature right here in the middle because it's dual zone climates, like I said. You also got your auto button, which automatically sets the climate controls of what it thinks you need. You also got your fan speed dial. As you can see, that's actually how you adjust the fan speed of the car. Of course, you also got your front windshield defroster and your rear windshield defroster. You also got your AC button, then you also got your circulation button, which it's kind of like what you would see at any car. Of course, you also got the volume dial, just like that's also how you adjust the volume of the radio. Of course, you also got your saved songs as well. You also got your presets 1 through 6. And then we go to display. Display actually completely turns off the screen to completely minimize the screen. You press it one more time and it completely turns it off. Press it again, it turns it back on. Press it again, you can see it, then it just displays like your time, the temperature, and the minimum volume, and all the normal climate control options. But if you press it again, it completely turns off the center screen, which is kind of cool to see. Then we go to sound. Now here's where you can adjust the bass, treble, and all the normal adjustments that you would want to do to the car. And this screen is touchscreen. So as you can see, as I press this right here, it actually increases the bass and the treble of the radio, as you can see. Of course, you can adjust the treble this way as well. You also got the balance and fade. As you can see, so here's where you can use to adjust the balance and also the fade as well. It's kind of cool to be able to see this kind of texture in here. It's kind of really cool to see. And that's pretty much all the interesting things to do with the sound of this car. If you go over to menu, here is where all of the cool options that you would want to find for the menu you would be found. Of course, you got the brightness of the screen, which is right here. As you can see, as I press this button right here, it actually dims and brightens up the screen. As you can see, you can also make the screen have more of a contrast in it as well by clicking this button right here. You can adjust the contrast of the display of the screen. You can also put the screen in day and night mode, which, as you can see, night mode, it makes it completely dark to make it easier for you to see at night, and during the day it makes it a whole lot brighter. You can also do auto, where it automatically changes from night to day mode, which is cool to see. Of course, you also got clock, which here's what you would use to actually adjust all the clock info. It's kind of like what you would see in any other normal car. So if I go back in here, as you see, whenever I tap something, you can hear a beeping happening, but you can actually turn that off by going to the feedback settings in the center screen. Here's you can actually turn on and off the touch screen beep. As you can see now, whenever I tap something, the beeping is no longer there, as you can see. And you can also turn up and down the voice control. And one really cool thing, whenever you actually adjust the voice control, it actually says louder and softer. Take a listen.
Softer, softer, softer. Louder, louder, louder. Softer, softer, softer.
And then there's valet mode. So now to enable valet mode, it's very simple. All you can simply do is go to the menu and go down to valet mode. And you click enable valet mode, then you got to put in a pin. Then it limits the car to a certain amount of power to where the valet will not be doing anything crazy whenever you hand them their car. Whenever you hand them your car. Alright, now let's go ahead and go to the map setting on the top area here. And here's where you can see the map. It looks pretty cool, but you can actually change the way the map is positioned by pressing this compass at the top, which, as you can see, it then puts a bird's eye view of what everything looks like around you. Which, as you can see, I'm currently right near an airport, which is really cool to see. You can also change how far of a view you want it to be. Like, you got 0.25, 25 miles. As you can see, as I press these buttons right here, it actually zooms the map, and you can even go all the way up to 100 miles, which is what I'm actually going to do. So I'm going to keep going. Okay. Oh wait, I can actually go even higher, up to 1,000 miles, and you can actually see, and that can view the whole U.S. Looking at the home screen of the Shelby GT500, you can actually make it show 3 different things. Of course, you got the map, which is fully adjustable whenever you're even right there. And you can also make it show the climate controls, and like, as you can see, make it show the climate controls. You also see your current radio station that you're listening to and stuff like that. But these screens right here, these displays here, are not all of what you can see. If you press these arrows down here, you can also make it just have the Ford badge instead of a map. You can make it show 2 different options, so just the map or the Ford logo. On the other side, you can make it show kind of the same things. Of course, you can make it go through here, and you can also make it show like the radio beat and stuff like that. Or you can just make it also just show the Ford logo. Can I make it show them both Ford logo? Hey, both 2 Ford logos. Then if we click on nav, when we actually go to these, we actually go to navigation, here's where you can actually choose everything that you want displayed on the map. So you can actually make it show the speed limit that you're going just by simply pressing this button. And then it'll actually show what the speed limit is on the map. It can also make it show the street names, the average time it's going to take for you to get to your destination. Don't know what breadcrumbs is. So what breadcrumbs is actually whenever you're actually on a route, if the route that you've taken, it'll actually show up as dots behind your arrow, and that's technically what breadcrumbs is. It's technically the route that you've already taken. It's basically just letting you know the route that you take. You also got the speed limit. You can also make it show the full map, and also arrow maps and stuff like that. These settings are what you use to adjust to how the map looks. So that's pretty much some of the map settings inside of this car. Now let's go ahead and go over to this info settings. Now this info settings is pretty cool. Here is where you can actually check out the traffic nearby and stuff like that. And we also got your current weather and stuff like that. Here's the crazy thing. You have your own calendar built inside of this car as well. As you can see, I can scroll through the calendar, and you can even make it go to today as well, just in case you get lost. You also got all your health info. And here's what you would actually use to scroll through everything, so in case you get like confused about how everything works inside of the center screen. Now here is something interesting. If you could press on where am I, it actually lets you know the exact road that you're on, as if somebody couldn't already tell it is. You're currently on Cessna Road. It is a really cool place to film photography. So hey, if you guys want to come take some cool pictures of your car, come to this location. And underneath that, it actually lets you know the coordinates that you're at as well, which is really cool to see, which could be very, very helpful. Let's say you broke down, or if your car ran off a cliff or something, and you have no idea, and you have to let the escort know where you are. You can actually say what coordinates that you're at. It also let you know that you're 715 feet above sea level as well. It actually lets you know how much feet above you are sea level, which is really cool to see. Moving on over to phone, as you can see, all the phone information is kind of like what you would see in any other car, so I'm not going to feature that. Go to climate, and here's where you can actually do all your climate control adjustments. So you can also adjust the temperature. This car does have dual zone climate controls, so which means you can have the driver's side have one temperature, and the passenger side have one temperature. As you can see, this side is at 660, and I'm actually going to adjust the passenger side as well too, because I'm nice. And here's where you can actually adjust where you want all the air to come out. You can either make it come out towards you, or come out towards you and your feet, or just your feet. You can also turn on the windshield defroster and also make it come out towards your feet as well. I'm going to do this one right here. That's what I normally do in my car as well. Here's what you can use to adjust the fan speed. As you can see, as I press this plus button, the fan speed gets higher. Press this lower, it gets lower. Of course, you also got this arrow button, which is right here, is what you use to actually eject the CD and stuff like that. Which actually, the owner of this car, we actually just discovered this CD, which was actually put in here by the previous owner. And so that's the 2011 Ford Shelby GT500. Without any further ado, it's time for the fun part. It's time to get this car out on the road to see how it drives. All right, here we go, y'all. Time to drive the GT500. So here we go. Okay, I want to take it a little bit easy for now. I don't want to like straight away bury the throttle. I just want to get used to the car first. And so far, shifting of this car is like incredibly easy. It's quick. This kind of feels like the Porsche I drove. There was not even half throttle. And so far, this car just drives absolutely incredible. I mean, I have not even really done anything too crazy with this car yet. That was about half. See, I'm not flooring this car yet. I'm babying it. I want to get used to it. Everybody's probably watching this video right now. They're going, "Oh, look at that idiot." But here we go. There was not even half throttle. I didn't floor it there. 75 miles an hour. Well, that was about 75%. This car is just incredible. So far, the steering is fantastic. This car's steering is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love the steering of this car. And this car isn't a very hard car to get used to. It's very easy. That's one thing I like about this car. It's easy. It's easy to drive. It may have, 550 horsepower may not sound like it's a very easy to drive, but I must say, this one here, it's easy. The second I got in here, I was actually got used to it. So, grab the floor it?
Yeah, floor it.
Let's cop. I was just saying, I'm going to be extra careful now. I'm going to pay more attention. I got to do it in front of the tunnel. That's basically law. If you don't rev it underneath the tunnel, then it's bad.
Still thinking the cops coming or something?
Yeah, goodness gracious. I'm going to get my first ticket in this. I wasn't going too fast over here. So I am going to floor it in this video, but I'm definitely not going to floor it here. And whenever I do open it up a little bit, I can slightly hear that supercharger a little bit. I can hear the supercharger a little bit. It feels pretty good. It does sound really good. And one thing I do love about this car is it's quiet. It's super quiet. Even with this stock exhaust, right?
Yeah.
Wow, this car just drives, and like this thing is just super duper quiet. I absolutely love it. I love how the shifter feels. It feels just like a Porsche. This thing actually isn't as crazy as I thought it would be. So far, the GT500 is an absolute beast. It's an absolute beast of a car. That wasn't full throttle at first. All right, this is gonna be fun. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. this. And so that is the 2011 Ford Shelby GT500. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy, please make sure you guys go hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and also go ahead and go drop a like on this video to support me in the channel. Also guys, go subscribe to me on all my social medias and all my other YouTube channels. They're going to all be linked in the description box down below. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching today's video. Peace out.